Real quick, this is technically Blue from the future. I just finished recording and I totally forgot. We have art for this series. Sandra has done commissions for the channel a lot. She's wonderful to work with, and she made an amazing one. Here it is. It's gorgeous. Essentially, what happens is, like both of us are unfamiliar with the games. Me because I haven't played them yet, and she just hasn't seen them yet. But what ends up happening is I give some screenshots and send like links to the game. And to say like, hey, so we have established kind of like characters for these arts. It's supposed to be a depiction of me and two main characters from stories I've been writing. And she's kind of imposes them into the artwork. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. I feel like every work gets even better. So this will be at the end of every episode from here, but just wanted to give a big shout out. Thank you so much for your great work. And I'm going to provide a link. I feel like the old link is broken, so I'm going to make sure to update it, but please go check out her stuff. She recently did a game jam. She's done artwork for a bunch of stuff. It's very, very worthwhile. Absolutely go send some love, go follow. It's definitely worth keeping an eye on her. She's really, really talented artist, and just wanted to give a shout out. So thank you so much. And yeah, enjoy the episode. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Blue Shifting, and welcome back to Chaos Head, where things already are very off the rails. I mean, I guess it's not to be expected, but I feel like the insanity kicked off really quickly, which is good. We need a good hook for a story. You've got me. I'm ready to go. So yeah, it's been a bit. Again, of course, got sick, but feeling better. We're back. We're doing our thing. And actually, this was the first series I ended up coming back to because I was feeling better. So, yeah. So we've got the understanding of our main character, his delusions. The delusion system in the game is very interesting. I'm going to play around with it and figure it out a bit better. Some of you kind of clarified it a bit, but I still feel like I don't want any more clarification as of yet, unless it's like really important. But I feel like I've got the general idea, and we'll just have to play with it as a game mechanic and see how it plays out. But regardless of however it goes, we ended up in an alleyway. And we saw nail crosses and a horrifically, almost artistically killed person. And a cute girl in our school uniform covered in blood who knew our name and said they were looking for us. So, that's always a great start. That's a good thing. Now, the real fascinating part about all of that ultimately for me is this idea that we were sent a picture of essentially that murder scene before it happened. So how's that possible? Like, what shenanigans has got to be going on to make that work? I keep wanting to start thinking about things in the terms of Steins Gate, but I can't. Like, this is meant to be a different story. Same universe, apparently, or similar universe, but, we're not going to be operating off of those rules, I don't think. Maybe it'll follow similar rules because it's part of the same universe and likely the same writers. But, obviously this is meant to be a different feel, a different type of setup and story and delivery. So I'm curious to see how it's all supposed to connect, because Steins Gate was meant to be like pseudoscience. Essentially you're saying, oh, what if we took scientific theories, found ways around like the limitations of physical, like of physics and time, and, set up this rule system and what you could do with it. This one, I just don't know. It feels more like a magical and fantasy style. So I'm not sure how that's supposed to play with like real world rules, but I'm sure it'll get kind of explained at least. Enough to probably satisfy me, but we'll see. Anyway, other than that, yeah, so we witnessed that and we ran home. And the trouble is that not only do we suffer from very crazy delusions, we also just are kind of disassociated from real life because of our very reclusive, neat lifestyle. And so I worry that he's really going to struggle to comprehend, like he's probably going to start dismissing it all as a bad dream, which is, frankly, it's a popular defense mechanism. A lot of people will just be really dismissive. It's actually, it's funny because I went to a community crisis prevention and preparation kind of meeting. Essentially, our local police force gathered together, and they went over just kind of the facts about like when a crisis occurs. Specifically, they were talking about mass attacks. So someone with a gun, with a knife, with a vehicle is targeting to commit as many, like, as much damage as possible. And, like, what do you do? And one of the things is that, like, they've done a lot of research on it, and a lot of people, when it first starts going off, will immediately try and deny and dismiss what's happening. They even talked about the example of how a firearm is very, very loud. And a lot of us would recognize a firearm in the same room with us going off. But from a distance away, or from several rooms away in the same building, firearms might not sound like you expect them to. And so a lot of people will hear firearms going off, and they'll immediately get worried and immediately try to dismiss it, being like, oh, that's like a car backfiring. Or I even heard, like, there was a testimony of somebody who said, like, who was in a mass shooting event, who said that it sounded like someone was just, like, hitting lockers with a hammer. Or another girl one time in a similar situation said that it sounded like someone was, like, chopping wood with an axe. You know, like, it just didn't sound like what they thought it would sound like. And so it's a good example of how when you see something horrifying, disturbing, and dangerous, a lot of our survival lizard brain instinct to kick in is to deny it because we really don't want it to be real. And so we grasp at any explanation that makes sense in a way that helps us not believe it. So I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to probably try and, like, take some personal copium and believe he was just seeing things, it was a delusion, it couldn't be real, and then he's going to probably, hear the story at school and maybe see a news story about it, oh no, it's real, and then he's probably going to run into the girl at school, and she's going to act really normal, and he's going to be, like, panicked, because he'd be like, weren't you at that thing? And she's going to be like, what are you talking about? Like, it's going to be so bizarre. I'm bracing myself for it. Anyway, enough of my ranting, let's jump in. It's so funny to start with already, like, I've been cooking on some theories already, so apologies there. I was completely winded. My lungs struggled to shovel air in and out, and my agonizing pants echoed throughout my room. I plopped down onto my computer chair. My body and clothes were completely drenched in sweat. What the fetch just happened? Another one of my delusions? My nausea was becoming unbearable. Trying to alleviate it, I grabbed a cola from the fridge and chugged it as fast as I could. I'll tell you from experience, when you're feeling like throwing up, you should not drink soda. It'll have the worst opposite effect. Absolutely. That delusion was way too realistic, even for my usual standards, and boy, was it gruesome. Too gruesome. That was still out of breath. Could a simple delusion really do this to me? No, it definitely couldn't. I felt an uncomfortable sensation in my right hand. I'd been clenching my fist so hard my fingers had nearly turned white. I hadn't even noticed until just now. I slowly opened my hand, one finger at a time, all while my heart pounded like a drum. Oh, fetch me. Yeah, there's your wake-up call, buddy. Oh, no. Lying in the palm of my hand was a single steak. Terrified by the sight of it, I instinctively turned and threw it against the wall. Dismiss, it's not real, That was a steak from before. Well, I definitely did pick one of them up off the ground earlier, but how was that even possible? Hadn't it all just been a delusion? I don't know, I don't know. It can't possibly be. It can't be. Oh, I'm feeling, like, queasy from the motion. At my wit's end, I started pacing around my room. I need to figure out whether that nightmare had been real or just another delusion. Like, again, I understand, like, the mind is desperately trying to protect him. He's trying to protect himself. But at the same time, it's like, come on, dude. You've got some pretty serious evidence in your hand, literally. That was the plan, at least, until I slipped on a CD case, lost my balance in a panic, reached out for something to keep myself from falling flat on the floor. I barely managed to find something to latch onto, but unfortunately, that something was my shelf of waifus. Oh, before I had the chance to regret it, it was already too late. In the end, no matter how hard I tried, I wasn't able to stop myself from falling, first on the floor, and to make matters worse, several of my beautifully arranged figures came tumbling down on top of me. Oh, gosh darn it. This is the worst. Everything about this was just the worst. Nice to know you got perspective, buddy. I let out a groan as I rose to my feet. I had to make sure my figures were safe. Aww. I feel your pain, buddy, but that was really loud. Ow. It snapped clean in two. I'd have to be one of the expensive ones. I'd paid a premium online for this. I tried putting the two halves of the blade back together, but I'd never be able to fix it perfectly, even if I used glue. Any value it once had was now gone. Well, okay, first of all, if you're collecting something like that, you're most likely never going to sell it, because the value is the character, which is why it's a valuable item. Is you gave it the value because you wanted it, and it was likely, restricted. That's the way things work. In fact, that's why the model Muv-Love TSF I have, which I haven't made any progress on, because gosh darn it, am I kind of scared to. I don't want to mess it up. But it's sitting in the box, and it was a steal because, like, I think the store that happened to get it didn't really know what it was, but, like, online, it's absolutely worth, like, twice as much as I paid for it, so cool for me. Anyway, I turned in my chair, kicked it out of sheer rage. Tears began welling up in my eyes. Why did I have to go through all this? What had I ever done to deserve this? I fell to the floor and just sat there for a while, heartbroken, staring dejectedly at my now swordless Ignistan. Once the storm of anger and confusion had passed, I found my mind filling with visions of her face, along with that modern art I'd seen. I had actually been physically holding one of the stakes, which meant it couldn't have been a delusion. It had to have been real. I really wanted to deny it, but there was no way I could. By tomorrow, it was sure to be all over the media. I really, really didn't want anything to do with this nightmare. There was no way associating with that girl, no, that demon, could bring anything but catastrophe for me. Hell, we'd only just met for the first time, and there had already been a disaster. After all, I'd brought home a critical piece of evidence from that incident, one of the stakes that had been used in the murder. I wouldn't be surprised if that on its own was enough to make me a suspect. Okay, well, that's the thing. It wasn't one of the ones used. It was just at the crime scene. I guess it could. If they were desperate to find somebody, which they probably will be, and they had no other leads but the fact that he had one of these tools in his room, it could become problematic. Yet if he just throws it away, that also becomes problematic. Probably be safer, though. And if things weren't already bad enough, the demon had seen my face. There was no way out of this mess, and at this rate, that demon was going to... No, forget about that. For now, I should focus on getting things sorted in my head for my own sake. If I value my own life, I really need to figure things out. The other thing he's seemingly missing again is that she already knew your name, and she already was saying she was looking for you. That should be horrifying on, like, a whole existential level. Yeah. Shogun equals mystery girl. Mystery girl equals murderer and demon. No doubt about it. Otherwise, there'd be no way the image could have matched up so perfectly with the crime scene. First, she'd edited the image together, then she'd recreated it in real life, right down to the finest detail. That was how the crime had happened. No, in her eyes, I bet it was more of a work of art than a crime. She seems like that kind of psycho, dedicated to finishing any job with nothing but sheer perfection. Yeah, there's a lot of, like, really important gaps here. Lots of really, really odd things happening. Obviously, that makes sense. That's an understatement of the year. But I'm meaning that the fact that she already seems to have a powerful connection to us when we literally have never seen her before is very disturbing. Ugh, what was I supposed to do? That demon would definitely come to kill me soon. And if she already knew my name, email, and all that stuff, then there was a very good chance she knew my home address too. I curled up into the fetal position in my chair. The image of that twisted murderer was etched into my mind. How could I stay calm when I could end up like that way too? Oh boy. Okay, what was that? That was like pages of a notebook. Who's that? Oh, a delusion. Sakihata lay sideways on my desk, facing toward me with a smile.
タッキー、あなたはこの部屋に引きこもってればいいんだよ。したら、あの悪魔だって手出しできないっしょ?
Okay, first of all, that advice is terrible. Second of all, holy thigh gap of thigh gaps. Jeez, those proportions are inhuman.
そのうちに警察がうまく捕まえてくれるって。
This is probably not going to be a good thumbnail. Because again, proportions are not human and very, 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 you know, servicey. But, potential. Also, notice she has one big, like, earring, but not the other. Is that supposed to be her, like, magical girl connection or something? I don't know. Anyway. Should be caught by the police, right?
それまでは誰も信じちゃダメ。誰の言葉にも耳を傾けちゃダメ。
You know, this is always how I pictured the delusions of people who go around and just start attacking people randomly would go. It's really disturbing that he's literally having a delusion that feels this real to him.
悪魔ってさ、人の心の隙間をついてくるのが好きなんだよね。油断すんのはノー。できるっしょ、タッキー。
でも、セーラ。
逃げるが勝ちってよく言うし。
I mean, that's right, but still.
三次元のことなんてきれいさっぱり忘れちゃえばいいさ。あなたには一切関係ないことだって思えば気が楽っしょ。
Wow. This is almost as disturbing as the murder.
関係ないこと考えたって無駄無駄さ。いいこと教えてあげる。引きこもりって最強なんよ。だって誰にも会わないっしょ。つまり誰にも攻撃されない。これぞ最強の自己防衛方法なわけさ。
Holy crap. It feels gross. Like, you know when you get that oily sensation on your skin and like you try to try and scrub it off with water or something and it just won't go away for a while? Usually because it's oil and water don't mix. But the idea, like that feeling of like, oh, there's something on my skin and it won't come off. That's what I feel about this right now.
だからタッキーは引きこもりになるべきなんさ。簡単っしょ。
そうかもしれない。
Just what I'd expect from my waifu. I could always count on her to give me the best advice. Oh no, dude, come on, please. Having regained my peace of mind, I reached out my hand for Sakihata, lightly grasping her by her slim waist, even as our faces drew closer. Smile never wavered.
ありがとう、セーラ。おかげで勇気が出てきた。そうだよ。三次元なんてクソくらいだ。あの悪魔だって僕みたいなキモオタのことなんて気にも留めてないさ。
Oh my gosh. So if his delusions are feeling so real to him that he actually feels like he has tangible sensations, he really might just have schizophrenia.
僕は安全だ。安心して毎日演奏したり好きなアニメを見てれば何の問題もないんだ。
Man. Ugh.
でもさっき言ったみたく油断は禁物だぞ。
分かってるよ。
I couldn't trust anyone. I wouldn't listen to a single word they had to say. This is how radicals are born. All I had to do was be cautious of everything in the 3D world. As long as I did that, everything would be just fine.
セーラにそこまで心配してもらえて、僕は幸せだな。
Oh my gosh.
さてと、それじゃ気分直しに演スロット。
ライアンクロス、約束は今。
Okay.
ライアンクロス、ライアンクロス、果たされるから。
Is that a real song that she's singing or a song that was for this game? Because it sounds interesting.
ライアンクロス、ライアンクロス、解き放たれた。ライアンクロス、ライアンクロス、終末。
Late into the night, the sound of a beautiful voice could be heard throughout Miyashita Park. Oh, who are you? It was coming from a pedestrian bridge that crossed over Mejidori. A steady flow of cars passed underneath. But in spite of this, the girl known as FES showed no sign of being affected by the noise. She simply kept on singing, leaning back against the handrail of the bridge.
月夜の光が示された従者よ
On any normal day, if she were to sing on the street in public like this, she would surely attract hundreds of onlookers, but right now, nobody was listening to her sing. For FES was deliberately concealing her presence, blending into the stillness of the night.
この場所へつながる幻の道
This way, she could loiter quietly until the moon left the sky behind. By doing so, by becoming one with the darkness, she felt as if she could free herself from the corrupt atmosphere of Shibuya, if only for a moment. That was what FES felt to be true.
叫びはいつしか沈黙に変わって
That's creepy. Suddenly, FES looked up into the night sky. The clouds covering it were starting to clear up, little by little, leaving space for the moonlight to shine through in their wake. But sadly, any and all starlight was completely drowned out by the dazzling neon of Shibuya. That's sad.
落ちてゆく安息風に手と手をつないで
FES halted her song, then slowly reached her hand out toward the sky.
その目誰の目
Oh my gosh, what the fetch? How do you know those words? What the heck? I get these files. Look at like epic finds. Past text wish list. That's kind of fun. Do not open. What on earth is that? Anyway, about a day had passed. I'd spent pretty much every hour of it in base lard. I'd hardly even made time to eat. I'd immersed myself fully into the role of neathard, and in the process, completely erased every trace of Nishijo Takumi. In ESO, I was an absolute god. No demon could ever strike fear into my heart, and I was respected by everyone. If only I could live in such a comfortable world for all eternity. I was certain I'd be far happier that way.
おおエンジェルハイロ来たこれ超レアすげえ
Oh boy, I'm so excited for you. Woo! Oh, I had to click to start him typing. FTL for the win.
使わないと装備おーキャラの見た目変わったすげえこれすげえ見て見ろってグリム
Uh-oh. Dude, someone's here. Uh-oh.
Huh? ナイトハルト自重しろうっせえ死ねよ負け組
They're all like, chill out. Shut up.
ちょっと街に戻って見せびらかしてこようかな
お兄
Oh, big bro. So he has a younger sister. Yeah, that's right. I wonder what she's gonna be like. Finally, another legendary item to add to my collection. Naturally, I was stoked. My depression from earlier had been completely blown away.
お兄ってば
Yeah, do you hear me in there? The angelic circlet had a drop rate of 0.0001%. It was so rare, some players thought it was unattainable.
おーい当て
Well, its stats were crap, so it was pretty much just a cosmetic item, but that was good enough. People could tell you had an angelic circlet by looking at you, which was enough to make anyone green with envy.
ろお兄
やったナイトハルトがまた一歩神に近づいた
Uh-huh, sure.
こら当て
There she is, finally. Shut up! Who the heck's been banging on my door for so gosh darn long? Just when I'd finally managed to get a hold of a rare item, this happened. Couldn't have been able to enjoy his victory for 1 second.
ろバカ鬼
ゲ
Oh no! That voice. The moment I realized who it was, my mood instantly took a nosedive. There's no mistaking it. That was the voice of an assassin sent by my parents, my little sister, Nanami. Aw, I always liked the name Nanami. I feel like that's come up many other stories as a little sister. Like, it's just the name you give the younger sister, Nanami. What a pain.
開けないとひどいんだからね。
The voice sounds familiar, though. Who is that? Who's voicing that? It sounds so familiar. Like, it's not like the same voice actor as Sabika, is it? Like, it feels like the same one. Well, crap. Here came the storm and the rain on my parade. Oh, or if you're not familiar with the Love, I'm also, like, it's the same voice actor who does Akane in Grisaya. I really didn't want to let her in, but if I didn't, my parents would probably get on my case about it. Stop living alone, move back in with us, they'd say. I'd ignore them if I could, but my dad's basically owned this building, so it'd take just a snap of his fingers for him to kick me out. Oh, this is the worst.
おーに
Open the door. Set the F up. I swear her voice is so shrill it could shatter glass. He's doing it because he knows it works. Banging just didn't stop, and since the metal walls were pretty thin, sound echoed loudly all throughout the container. Nanami was well aware of that. In fact, that was exactly why she was doing it. In the end, I had no choice. I reluctantly removed the padlock and opened the door.
あ、やっと出てきた。
Aww.
生存確認。
She's very cute. What a fun little sister. I wonder if she's really like, but she seems like pleasant. Routine survival check. Does this guy take showers? Like, he must horrifically smell. This baby-faced runt was my little sister. She was a year younger than me.
呼んでるんだから返事くらいしてよね。お兄死んじゃったかもって思ったじゃん。
Of course, the first thing out of her mouth was a being, and to make things worse, she was standing there with her hands on her hips like a bratty little crap she was, spitting image of irritating. Her existence brought me nothing but suffering.
うわ、相変わらず部屋の中汚。ちょっとは片付けなよ。
I agree. Aw, Nanami just waltzed right in without even asking. What the heck did she think she was doing? What, did she think she could get away with whatever she wanted just because she was my little sister? And to think there were people out there who seriously believed that little sisters were moe. I always wanted to tell those guys how much of an epic fail that was. Oh, the way he talks is so dated. I mean, it makes sense. It made sense at the time. It's one of those things where it's like using modern like kind of memey language. It's almost like using CGI. It looks or sounds great at the time, but give it a 5 years and it starts to really like just age and just really comes across poorly. I remember though, when I was in school, so one of my best friends was they were very linguistically, like they loved like language and like diction and just all that stuff, like the history of words and like they were learning other languages and stuff. And I remember they were very, very upset, not upset, but like it would annoy them when people would use epic like this, because epic was meant to be like a long like story, you know, or like a narrative of a long piece of history or a span across essentially a certain genre or like time period, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, you know, like the narration of that story. But people started using epic to mean like awesome or cool or amazing, and she hated that. But then she got really upset, I remember, because one day, because I would use epic all the time at that time. It was just in my language, and she'd be like, why are you using that word like that? It doesn't make sense. And then eventually, I remember Webster Dictionary does updates every year, and she actually came up to me and she's like, I can't believe it, because they had updated epic to have another meaning that meant like an emphasis for awesome, or like to express like a scale of like essentially cool. And she's like, they changed the definition, so now it's actually legitimate. And she was so upset because she would always be like picking at people for saying epic like that, and now we were all like technically correct now. And like she was a nerd, a word nerd, if that makes sense. Anyway, well, even though she was my sister, she certainly doesn't look unsavory. Why are you saying that? She had a lolly. Ugh. Oh my gosh, again. Like, the internet's not liking that word anymore. She had a lolly body type, so I can see why that might make her pretty darn popular in some circles. Okay, wait, so he's supposed to be like 17, right? And so she would be 16? She is pretty small for a 16-year-old. Still though. Why does he think these ways? But as her older brother, I didn't care about that. Thank you. I wasn't into her at all. As far as I was concerned, she was downright repulsive, not to mention immature. Not to say I didn't like lollies, of course. Gosh darn it, dude. Stop! Just only 2D ones.
カビクスお兄の部屋って相変わらず不潔掃除しろっていつも言ってるじゃんどうしてしないの
She's right, but that face, that's hilarious.
まあどうせ掃除してくれる彼女なんかいないだろうしお兄ってズボラだからこうなるのは目に見えてるけどさ
A girlfriend shouldn't have to!
こうなったらやっぱりナナが掃除しに来てあげるしかないかな
She's way too good for you, bro. You don't deserve her.
だが断る
Wait, that came up in Steins Gate too. But I refuse. A quotation from a popular manga about bizarre adventures. Oh, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventures? On the internet, it is used frequently as a cool way to turn someone down. A cool way.
なんでよ
お前に部屋荒らされたくない
きっとそれがわざわざ生存確認しに来てあげてる妹に言うセリフ
Yeah, she also offered to clean your room. Because I can understand why he would say, like, maybe, like, don't touch the expensive models that I already accidentally started breaking. But beyond that, how could she destroy this place? It's, like, pre-destroyed. Maybe things would change if you showed your older brother a little respect, and why should I be grateful that you're checking on me? I sure as heck didn't ask you for that.
まったくなんでこんな面倒ばっかりかけさせる兄弟と血つながってるんだろうたまに嫌になっちゃうよ
Aw, that's harsh, but I kind of get it. But it's still harsh, especially to say out loud. But like, I like, geez Louise. I definitely have used that before, but usually as like a joke. Like to be like, oh, like who, like I don't even know when that was used, like actually.
なんか喉乾いちゃった飲み物もらうね
Alright, so having listened to her more, I don't think it's the same voice actor as Sumika or Amane. At first it sounded like it, but maybe it was just like the way that she was talking. I still think she sounds familiar though. I'm pretty sure I've heard that voice actor before. Oh, what's that on the screen? Like, why is it like got that weird streak on it? I don't know. Anyway. Nanami walked right past me, over to the mini fridge, once again acting like she owned the place. Oh, delusion time.
コーラしかないじゃんミルクティーとか用意しといてよ
Alright, so someone said that it's either like, so green means positive delusion, red means negative delusion, or you can just keep clicking through and you won't have one. So I want to try the not have one, because I'm enjoying her. I don't want to skip over a dialogue with her. I think she's interesting, so let's keep talking to her. Yeah, Colin here got milk tea for me.
知らんがな
しょうがないなじゃあコーラもらうね
Surprise! Fetching surprise! She went ahead and did as she pleased. This thing called permission, you know. She grabbed a bottle of cola from the fridge, one I'd already drank from, no less, and after only a second of hesitation, she cracked it open and gulped it down. That is a sibling. That is genuine sibling behavior. Oh, music's up. She just drank straight from the bottle. Nasty. She's supposed to be a girl, yet she acted like this? What a disgrace. This is exactly why 3D sucked. As soon as Nanami left, I was gonna chuck that bottle straight in the trash. Wait, what? She drank the whole thing. Well, there you go. Problem solved.
美味しかったやっぱ運動の後の一杯って 格別。学校からここまで走ってきたんだ。
Now, I'm not the most aggressively athletic. Let me say again, I'm not athletic. But even I would know, like, I mean, it might taste good, but after running, the last thing I'd want would be a carbureted drink. I mean, it wouldn't be too bad, especially if you're in decent shape, I suppose. So the coldness is more the benefit. But yeah, no, like, I've always thought, cola's always been, like, rough on my stomach.
全部飲んだのか。しかも一気で。
I bought that cola with my own money. So just because you're my sister, you think you can do whatever the heck you want, huh? I see how it is.
しまった。
Nanami looked at the bottle in her hand and turned pale. Oh good, looks like she's finally realized how rude she was being to...
どうしよう。また太っちゃうじゃん。
Wait, fat again? What? Yeah, like, okay, I approve of that. It's like, what? It's like, first of all, fat? You're like the opposite of fat.
お兄のせいだからね。
Okay. You're being absolutely ridiculous now. And what's with that pose? I had no idea what she was talking about.
お兄がコーラ好きなせいで、ナナまでコーラ大好きっ子になっちゃったんだから。
Okay, so you're blaming me. Okay, whatever.
人のせいにするなよ。
だって、うちの冷蔵庫に入ってるの、いっつもコーラだったじゃん。
Yeah, okay. Fair. But A, that's not the case anymore. Unless you're buying it. And B, you didn't have to drink that.
お母さんがお兄のこと甘やかすからだ。知ってる？コーラってカロリーすっごく高いの。だからお兄もあんまり飲みすぎない方がいいよ。
She's not wrong. Soda's like one of the biggest contributors to poor health. It's like, it just has so much sugar for its volume. It's kind of disturbing.
今度からミルクティーにすべき。
That's not much better. But milk tea really isn't any healthier than cola. It's got just as many calories, and more importantly, who the heck asked? I'm happy with my diet, thanks. Is that all you came here for? To drink all my cola and lecture me to stop drinking cola?
もう帰れよ。
You did your whole survival check thing. Now your job here's done, right? Why did you feel the need to barge in here every time?
お兄、冷たい。
Aww. Seemed like I'd managed to offend her somehow. She pursed her lips in a pout and glared at me. I was already done with her crap though, so I looked away.
せっかく心配して様子を見に来てあげてるのに。
Aww.
お兄ってずっとここに引きこもって誰とも喋らずに一日を終えちゃうことだってあるんでしょ？女の子と話す機会だってどうせ全くないんだよね。
She said she's interestingly invested in us finding a girlfriend. I wonder if it's one of those cases where he has no feelings for her, but I wonder if she's a little too attached to her brother. And it's like one of those situations where she's like keeps talking about wanting him to meet girls and like get out and start doing stuff, but then like if he actually met a girl, she's gonna get super jealous and protective. Shut up! Stop making fun of me, you stupid bee! I'm not into 3D girls, so why would I even bother talking to them?
言ってみればお兄と話す女の子はナナだけってことじゃん。
You seem a little too happy about that.
だからさ、もっとナナのこと大事にしてよ。そしたら女の子との接し方もちょっとは分かってくるはずだし。
I mean, that's almost fair. While she was nagging, Nanami picked out one of my figures, Hakaru-tan from the Suicide for Hakari, and started staring at it. Dang it, don't touch my waifus without asking. If you leave even a single fingerprint on her, I will actually beat the crap out of you. It's so funny because in his head, he's so macho man and so like tough. He's the definition of a keyboard warrior. But then like in real life, he's like so just different, disconnected.
あと、お兄は自分のことにもっと気を使って。こんなお人形さんにうつつを抜かしてる場合じゃないよ。ナナはお兄の死体の第一発見者になんかなりたくないからね。
I'm not sure what the obsessed thing of dolls has to do with him just being dead on the floor, unless it's like the dolls or the figures are symptoms of like an inability to take care of himself. What the heck was she trying to imply? I feel like she'd been becoming more and more like mom lately, which meant that she'd gotten even more effing annoying.
いいから帰れよ。
そんなに帰れ帰れ言わないでよ。お兄のバカ。
Alright. I don't know why that's so adorable, but it is. Oh my gosh. They went crazy with the character designs for this game. I really actually I'm pretty impressed. I like it.
まだこっちには用事が残ってるの。
She was getting more hysterical by the minute. If I made her any angrier, things would just get out of hand, so chill out, me. Oh, how much you want to bet she's going to talk about the murder thing, and then maybe she'll see the cross, and she'll be like, what the?
携帯買いに行こう。
Oh.
は
What that she just said?
お父さんがそうしろって。お兄が携帯持てばいつでも生存確認できるじゃん。
He's like, oh, that doesn't sound great.
お金はナナが預かってきたから今から買いに行こうよ。今時携帯持ってない人なんていないよ。時代に取り残されちゃうよ。
I was me. I remember, because money was a tight thing growing up. I was one of the, probably not one of the absolute last, but I was definitely more than like 60-70% of people in school had a cell phone before I got one. But yeah, at this time and age, it almost feels like it feels like everyone literally has cell phones. I've seen like kids in like grade school have cell phones now. That's kind of bizarre in a way, but I also kind of get it. Shut up already, you teenage trend-chasing bee. Not the one who lives under a rock here. You're wrong-sider. The internet gives me all the information I need. Well, she was right about one thing. These days, it was normal for high school students to have a phone, and I don't have one. Of course, that was because I'd never used it anyway. Don't have anyone to call or text. I didn't want to pay for something that I wasn't going to use.
だから行こう。
Nanami put the figure back on the shelf, turned her attention back to me.
どうせお兄は機種とかわかんないだろうからナナと同じ機種にしちゃいなよ。
Oh boy. As she said that, she took her own phone out of her bag and started showing it off like it was some precious heirloom. Oh my gosh, it's got the frog!
これがナナの色が可愛いでしょ。
Alright, here we go. Thumbnail of the century right here. It's got the frog! We actually have a few, one or two of these on our Discord as like emotes you can use, which is fun. And also clearly not a Razer phone. It's really funny because again, this is actually the first one I had. The first cell phone I got when I was in school. And again, like there were much better phones out there. It was just, we got what was like a baseline model, but that thing was a tank. I think it was still working because when I left home and like did some travel and study and volunteer work, I left my phone to my little brother because I got a new one. And I came back and he was still using it. And so I think I got it. Yeah, if I'm remembering correctly, the phone was still functional after 8 years. That's insane. Anyway, I like you. Nanami's a good character.
ついでだからストラップも同じのあげるよ。
Of course, we gotta get the frog.
うわ、なんという手抜きキャラ。
The character hanging from the phone strap was far from cute. It looked horrible. There's no way a professional had designed it. It looked like one of those crap tier ugly cute characters, or like one of those official government mascots.
手抜きじゃないもん。ゲロカエルンはこういうデザインなの。今すっごく流行ってるんだからね。
Ghetto. Yeah, I remember him being mentioned in Science Gate. Ghetto frog.
はあ、女子高生の流行なんてお兄が知ってるわけないか。
It's true, he would not have a clue.
そういうとこを直せば少しは女子と会話成立すると思うよ、きっと。
Interesting. She's fairly confident in him. Gosh darn it! Just shut up already, you trend-chasing bee that fetches this ghetto froggy crap. There's no way this thing's popular. Anyone with half a brain could tell you that. She didn't realize she was just being played by the media. It was honestly sad. Oh, buddy. You think she's being played by the media? She might be, but you literally you only subsist off the internet. It's like media and just utter madness.
っていうか、今はゲロカエルンの話じゃなくて、いいから携帯買いに行こうよ。あ、 別にお揃いがいいとか言ってるわけじゃないからね。家族で同じ機種だと基本料金が割引されるサービスがあるからだよ。
ああ。
家族で持ってないのはお兄だけなんだからね。
いらない。
なんで？お金はお父さんが出してくれるんだよ。
必要ない。
It would be a nuisance, if anything. If I had a phone, Mom would definitely call every day. And if I kept ignoring those calls, they'd keep sending little Miss Assassin Nanami over here to lay the pressure on. My family life would become even more of a living hell, and I'd have to start being way more careful as a result. I couldn't let that happen.
もう信じらんないよ、このバカ鬼。もう帰る。
Oh, really? I genuinely thought we were about to go on a shopping trip and get a phone. I mean, think about it, dude. You literally ran into a murderer recently. Wouldn't you want a phone to call for help?
ああ、そうしてくれ。
What a jerk. I opened the door for her to finally leave, but Nanami didn't budge an inch. She just shot her arms down to her sides, looking even more upset than before.
ほんとバカ、アホバカ鬼。駅まで送ってくれるとかしてよ。
嫌だね。
Oh my gosh, she'd never acted like this before. Why'd she suddenly want me to walk her to the station? What's so special about today?
だって最近殺人事件とかで物騒じゃんか。こういう場合心配するのが兄弟ってもんでしょ。
I mean, she's got a point. Yesterday's events were resurrected in my mind once again, if only for a second. I frantically shook my head trying to get that gruesome scene out of my mind, and I just barely managed to.
どうでもいいし。
Either way, it wasn't like the NewGen murderer was twisted enough to attack some brat like Nanami.
ありえない。ナナが死んでもいいって言うんだ。
Aww. She's literally crying, dude. Nanami was tearing up. It seemed like my words had really gotten to her. Oh, serves you right. Maybe you should think twice about disturbing my peace and quiet next time. This is just my own way of taking a little revenge for once. Get effed. Alright, I can see why people don't like this guy. I can see why the people were saying he's the worst. He is the worst. Now, it's ultimately because he's a coward. I can understand that he's genuinely terrified. He genuinely just doesn't want to leave. He's like, even if it wasn't the whole murder angle, he just is he's terrified of being out in public. He's got his reasons. He's very clearly not in a healthy state of mind. But still, come on.
バカ、死んじゃえ。お兄なんか猟奇的に殺されちゃえ。
After spitting those parting words at me, Nanami pushed past me and ran away as fast as she could. Wow, dude. Seemed the storm had finally passed. The room grew peaceful and quiet once again. You suck. Oh boy. This was how things should always be around here. My own perfect little world where stupid bee crap wasn't allowed. Sat down in front of my PC, shaking my mouse a little to clear the Serotan screensaver. I tried to take a sip of the cola bottle next to my desk, but it was empty.
しまった。これ、ナナミがさっき飲んだやつだ。
Oh god, I just had an indirect kiss with my little sister. I'm gonna puke. Maybe if she was a little more charming, it would have been the kind of eroge-like situation I could Oh my gosh. This dude! Oh no! But with that horrible personality, no chance. If anything, it'd only make me more flaccid. Ah! What is this? I put the cap back on the bottle and threw it at the big garbage bag at the corner of my room. He didn't throw it in the bag, he threw it at the bag. But it didn't go in the bag, instead bouncing off the wall, rolling under my bed. Well, whatever. Anyway, time to dive straight back into ESL. Just want to forget about that annoying real world ASAP. I get it. But it wouldn't last long. Just one day later, my immersion would be broken once again. Alright. So, I like this first phrase. God, it's like, this is a good place to end, but I feel like I almost wish we could go a little longer. But I at the same time, I know if I go much longer, it's just gonna be more and more and more. Screw it, we're gonna go a little longer. Anyway, gotta love this entrance sentence. My mental state had been on the up and up lately. Oh, really? I mean, fair enough. It's not too hard to get more when you're at bedrock. But the moment I stepped outside, it all came crashing down again. Dang it, why'd I have to go to school today? It was so early.
なんで今日なんだよ、最低最悪だ。
But it wasn't like I could just take the day off. If I did, my minimum attendance chart would get all thrown off and then I wouldn't be able to graduate.
卒業って、何を卒業するって言うんだよ。
I was the one insisting on going through with it, but I still couldn't help but complain. And as I approached the wealthy district of Matsunami, I finally realized I'd been feeling a gaze for a while now. But this wasn't the usual god's gaze. I didn't feel any shivers on my back of my neck. Oh, who was that? As I turned the corner, I took a quick, tiny glance behind me, and I caught a glimpse of a girl wearing a Suime uniform. No way. Was it the demon from yesterday? It wasn't. I instantly lost my composure. An extreme amount of tension overtook my body, and my walking became stilted. A moment ago, it was quite a morning like any other, but now I feel like the entire world was out to get me. I could faintly hear the sound of birds chirping along the phone lines, and I could also hear music from the morning news playing in nearby homes. In a peaceful scene like this, where crime would seem totally out of place, I came close to imagining myself getting brutally murdered. Okay, need to calm down. It wasn't like I'd clearly seen her face or anything, and there was nothing strange about seeing Suime students walking behind me. We were heading for the same destination, after all. I'd be fine. Even though school was straight ahead, I decided to take a hard right. I was worried about what could be behind me, but I desperately suppressed the urge to turn around. I need to keep my cool and act natural. My heart was pounding, but I kept walking. I continued for about a minute or so until I decided I couldn't take it anymore. I slowly turned around. Oh, fetch. Yep, that's somebody different. We made eye contact for a second, but I panicked and turned back around. Why was she following me? This path was obviously the long way to school. That meant she had to be tailing me. Either way, I've never seen her before. She definitely wasn't the demon from yesterday, that was for sure. She was wearing glasses, and the demon girl hadn't been. That fact alone was enough to calm me down. I decided just to head straight for school. I'd have to skip my routine breakfast at the park because of it, but oh well.
くそ、女子 A め。
Girl A. To me, you're just the same background character, Pedestrian 1 or Girl A, so stay out of my way. After I entered the school, Girl A disappeared. I had expected her to continue tailing me, but instead she turned and headed toward the third-year classrooms. Maybe she was never tailing me in the first place. Maybe I was just overthinking it. But still, it was definitely weird that she'd taken the same detour that I had. Did she hate me for some reason? Had I done something to piss her off? I didn't think so. No, I couldn't have. I hardly ever went to school, and when I did, I tried to keep my presence very minimal. So then what the heck was she trying to accomplish? And back home we go. Somehow I'd managed to make it through the torture known as school. On my way home back, I made my usual stop at Act Cafe, took my seat at room 37. The nearby rooms were normally always empty, but surprisingly, that wasn't true today. There was someone in room 36. Their door was closed, but the light from the desk lamp leaked through the cracks. I couldn't help but click my tongue when I entered my room. Having someone sitting nearby posed a bit of a problem. Whenever I did things like chatting online, I had a tendency to talk to myself sometimes. Well, whatever. Time to just ignore it and log into ESO already. As long as I made a conscious effort to stay quiet, it shouldn't really be an issue. Yeah, someone pointed out, like, I was saying, like, I read this, and, like, I saw, like, I talked about how, like, scammy this sounded with, like, the money, like, applying to become a manager costing money. And then someone pointed out that, like, yeah, maybe the ad that's been listed by Shady Corp is a scam. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. I didn't even pay attention to that part, the most important one. But then they also said that in the actual like Japanese one, like it was they used a different phrase that literally was like the word scam or scam company. So like it's not subtle.
だよこいつら。
Irritated, I slammed my hands down on the keyboard. It had only been 2 hours since I started playing, and I was already this close to throwing myself off a cliff. The people I'd partied up with today were total noobs. I'd been trying my best to help them, but one of them went all Leroy Jenkins and just died repeatedly. I like how that's not a tip. Like, did they actually think that the reference of Leroy Jenkins was going to be, like, super mainstream? Because I'm guessing there's plenty of people who have no idea what that's about. It's a great meme, though. But, yeah, just rushing in and pulling all the ads without a strategy and just getting everyone killed. Then the other one was a mage, but he didn't cast any healing spells at all. As a result, we just kept getting full party wiped over and over again. And yet, instead of figuring out why it was happening, all they ever did was continue to piss and moan in the chat. F these crappy players. Okay, they do sound toxic. I finally just lost it and proceeded to PK both of them, steal all their items, and instantly escape to another area. You know what? They were being toxic, but they then became like nuclear. You kill them, steal their stuff, and escape. Holy crap, that's super brutal. Man, are there even very many games that let you do that anymore? Like, I guess some do. I think it's one of those things where, like, I kind of hate it, but kind of like it. I like because it institutes a feeling and need to cooperate, communicate, and be very careful when traveling. But I also kind of hate that somebody can then, like, profit directly from stealing from other people, because it feel like it brings out the worst in people. But I don't know. I do think the freedom is a good thing, because otherwise games just feel very like click, 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 go, go, go. Everything Leadheart could do, Lizelot could without second thought. This is exactly why I came all the way to At Cafe for. Fuhihi. Finally feeling a bit better, I breathed a sigh of relief and went to grab a drink. At Cafe had a bunch of all-you-can-eat drink soda fountains in the reception area. And related to that was the only bad thing about room 37. It's kind of far away from the reception area. When I left my room, the door of 36 was open. Naturally, in order to make my way to the front, I had to go past it. I see those froggies. I casually took a peek inside as I walked past, but there was nobody in there. Come to think of it, I had heard someone get up a moment ago. And although there was no one there, I saw a bag on the ground next to the reclining chair. It looked like a school bag, and there were a few toy straps hanging up from it. There were Gero froggies, like the one Nanami had showed me yesterday. There were 3 of them in total. Guess they really were popular. Well, whatever. Wasn't like I cared either way. Besides, if the person came back and caught me staring, they might take me for a pervert or a thief. Realizing that, I decided to go get my drink. However, right as I went to leave, my eye caught a glimpse of a text on the monitor and I froze. All things NewGen. And if that wasn't enough, it was written in the most sickening font as if it was trying to freak me out. NewGen. I'd been deliberately avoiding any and all info about those cases. I really didn't want to know anything more about them. And as long as I kept avoiding them, I could keep telling myself they had nothing to do with me. No, forget about that. More importantly, the customer next door to me was looking at a site laying out everything about NewGen. Was it just a coincidence, or did it mean something? For a moment, the face of the demon girl flashed through my mind, sending goosebumps across my entire body. I shook my head violently, trying to force out those horrible thoughts away. I was just overthinking it. Yeah, I had to be. Nobody was going out to get me. I was just being paranoid. NewGen was pretty much all the media was talking about lately. By this point, anyone would be interested in it. Oh, it's interesting. It's this double-edged sword of this, like, paranoia. The paranoia really fuels his, like, isolationism and his desire to be a shut-in and his delusions. But he's still self-aware enough that he can then dismiss, like, odd, worrying coincidences as just, like, you know, lucky chances or just not related. It's actually a dangerous combination because it makes him socially, like I started to say it, socially inept. Functioning and taking care of himself is borderline at best. But then, if actual dangerous situations and oddities are occurring, he's so quick to dismiss it and try to ignore it that literal dangerous things could happen right next to him, and he would probably, like, well, they did. He saw a murder scene, and he immediately just forgot about it. He pushed it away and didn't let himself think about it. It's a very dangerous combo. That was all it was. Yep, no doubt about it. Anyway, I should just go get my drink already, then get back to business. I quickly placed my cup under the dispenser, pressed the cola button. Delicious ice-cold cola starts pouring out. It was getting dark outside, which meant this place was going to get really crowded soon. There were already a few customers standing by the front desk waiting to be shown to their rooms, and the darker it got, the more people would show up. In about an hour or so, all the rooms surrounding room 37 would fill up. Once that happened, it'd be time for me to head home. I took my cup and headed back toward my seat. On the way, I casually glanced down the hallway toward the bathrooms. That's when... Oh, it's you. I saw the girl's figure disappear into the corner. She'd been wearing a Suume uniform and had glasses on her face. I recognized her. It was the same girl that had been tailing me this morning, Girl A. Thought I might be mistaken, so I hid behind some bookshelves and looked toward that corner for a while, but she never showed up again. Must have just been my imagination. Yeah, it had to have been. I've only seen her for half a second after all. This place was typically swarming with Suime girls, and plenty of them wore glasses. But what if it had been Girl A? If she were here, what would that mean? Was it just a coincidence, or had she followed me? I was starting to get a little scared. Probably good! Alright, I think we're going to stop here. I feel like something interesting is about to happen, but we'll probably just take a break as it is. I'm glad I continued a little longer, because it wasn't like we got too caught up in anything too crazy, but yeah, we definitely have this Girl A mystery definitely going to be coming in. I'm curious that we get to learn more, but we'll save that probably for next week, because what is her motivation? Why is she a murder happy chick? Like, why do they seem to know us? Like, murder happy girl, the demon, knew our name, and this girl is following us. So is that related at all? Does it have anything to do with Nanami? I don't think so. I'm guessing that she's just a sister who cares about her brother and wants her brother to be happy. And is really, it really sucks that she has such a crappy brother. But it's really interesting to see how it's all going to play out. So guess we'll just have to see. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had a good time. I certainly did. Always fun to find new mysteries to unravel and just to see where this story is going to be taking us potentially. I appreciate you spending your time here, for coming back and watching the series. It's always scary when you take a break as a YouTuber because you feel like it's all about momentum. And as soon as you take a break, even for a bit, you worry that YouTube's going to just like shove you down the toilet and flush. But it's always nice to know that there are people who just want to come and watch and share these stories with me. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Hope you enjoyed my ranting and ramblings, of course. Like, bread and butter here, but I appreciate it. I especially appreciate those of you who show support directly through channel memberships or the Patreon. It means the world to me. I really owe you guys a Patreon cast. I've been trying to do those more often, but like every time I always get caught up in stuff, and next thing I know, a month's passed. So I'm gonna try and make a real effort to make sure to do a recording of that soon, and try and have something up, especially because there's been some major developments on the back end, and might be interesting to share and kind of give you a heads up of what could be potentially down in the future. But we'll get to all that while we can. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for joining me in anything you see. And until next video, watching me up, see me in next. I'll see you there.